And it's our final program for 2020, Christmas Day next week. And, well, we'll talk a bit about Christmas tonight. But one of the big topics of the year, the C word, China. China has become the whipping boy now for Australia. Australia is sort of blaming China for everything, and maybe there's a bit to be blamed for. But I'm really worried that blaming China is partly us just being lazy all over again. You know, we are the lucky country, but I actually have a very strong view that we've been lucky to get away with not really doing too much at all and yet becoming so wealthy. Now, if you think about it, students of history will know that once they found gold in Kalgoorlie in Western Australia, Australia's federation was secured. We were in a wealthy position at the early days. It's 120 years ago. On the 1st of January next month, 120 years of Australia. Then, of course, came the sheep's back because the First World War robbed the countries in Europe of the opportunity to safely grow wool. Our sheep, the merino wool, was incredibly of value, and the sheep's back drove Australia's economy all through that First World War period. And in the intervening period, while we built the Sydney Harbour Bridge and did a couple of other things, Brisbane's Story Bridge as well, it's been coal and iron ore discovered by individuals, entrepreneurs who found all these coal deposits, these iron ore deposits, turned it into a lot of money for them and their family, but also saved us as a nation financially. So we've just been lucky. We've had all these things fall in our lap, so to speak. And here we are 120 years later, and we're just simply relying on exactly the same thing, digging out big rocks, maybe crushing them into small rocks or sending them off to someone else to crush them up and then buying back the products that they make with our stuff. And the problem I have with Australia, and as we're buying stuff for Christmas this year, look where we're buying it from. We've never really had a big plan. We've never had a plan that's been big enough to guarantee a long-term multi-generational future. We've actually never really tried as hard as we might. We've kept resting on the laurels. Yes, I know we built the Snowy Mountain scheme, and the success of our post-World War II migration meant that the Poles and the Germans and the Russians and the Italians, everybody was in there digging away and creating what is this magnificent water scheme on the Snowy Mountains. We've had the Ord River scheme as well. We've had safety and security built around water flows in the Murrumbidgee irrigation area. They were three big things. The Murrumbidgee irrigation area, known as the MIA, is an interesting contrast point because we're now completely MIA, missing in action when it comes to building dams. We've had flooding rains in southeast Queensland, over 1/2 metre in many parts of southeast Queensland, dams overflowing in one part, dams half empty in others. We just haven't done any of that sort of stuff. We haven't actually thought about how do we make this country grow with our own efforts. We've just dug rocks out of the ground and sent them off. And frankly, the Chinese know we are lazy. And the Chinese are really giving us a bit of a favour in a lot of ways. We should actually understand how much effort we're putting in for the results we get out. We're not doing it. And I hope that in 2021 we'll start to see a revisit by government to get the entrepreneurial class back to work and to put a bit of shoulder to the wheel, best foot forward, nose to the grindstone, all that sort of stuff. OK, let's change gears now. Next week, of course, Christmas. And the exciting kind of out-of-the-box story is that of the Christmas star. Forbes magazine is saying that it's been known for thousands of years that Jupiter and Saturn, two planets in our solar system, conjunct. In other words, they get so close that from our point of view, it's really evident that they're almost touching each other every 20 years or so. And when the event occurs in the same part of the sky, it's about every 800 years or so. So let's follow that story. Next week, on or around Monday, Tuesday, the winter solstice, the December solstice, we're going to see, if you hold a toothpick up in the sky towards Jupiter and Saturn, you'll see this bright light. That's how bright it'll be in the sky, an arm's length toothpick away. Could this be the kind of fabled Christmas star that was seen by the wise men back in the times of the birth of Jesus 2,000 years ago? These two planets will appear to be just 0.1 of a degree away from each other. It is quite exciting to think about the fact that we're going to see this once in 800-year event. The closest great conjunction occurred on the 16th of July, 1623. I love how people keep records. And the first easily observable one That's what we're going to see next week since the 4th of March, 12:26. Okay, can't say you weren't told. You'll see a lot about it in the media in coming days.